All right. Hello. It's Ceymone. It is currently, oh, January 10th, 2025, and I'm going to build a computer. Last video you probably saw this was back in 2020. Built the computer that's recording right now. It's got a 2070 Super 3700X. Uh, some other bells and whistles. I'll link the previous video if you're interested in watching that. But my goal was to build one in 2025. So I bought all the parts in December, and I got them all here. We're gonna build it, and we'll see if I have any catchphrases we can add a counter to. But gist of it is I'll link the PC part picker in the description. But I got a Fractal North case. One of my regrets last time was not getting a case with a shroud for the PSU, so I did that. It's a little bit bigger, and it also just looks nicer. It's got this wood accent that I really like. So, let's see. Motherboard. One of my regrets from the last is I didn't get a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi enabled motherboard. So I got the B650 Tomahawk Max with Wi-Fi. For the new one, I got a 4070 Super and a 7700X CPU. Let's see. Got a Phantom Spirit cooler, because they don't give you those with the CPU anymore, which was kind of disappointing. We got some other things. I got another Corsair power supply. I was happy with the one last time. So, we're gonna build, and by we, I mean me. I'm gonna build a PC. I know we got some literature, but we got the motherboard, quick installation guide. I tried to peruse these before I started. These never end up explaining much of anything, if I'm being honest. It's cool that they got little YouTube QR codes. We're gonna wing it though, I guess. First up, oh, everyone's favorite part, motherboard. Love me a motherboard. Also, if you ever see me like looking up to the heavens, the camera recording the desk is on a tripod above me, and sometimes I'm going to be checking the viewfinder to make sure that it can still see what I'm doing down here. So if you ever wonder why I'm looking up like that, that's what I'm doing. Alright, beautiful motherboard. Getting it out always sucks. It's just, yeet. Alright, we're going to move that. We got our little anti-static bag. What else do we got in here? We got some... Oh, the M2 locker. Another M2 locker. What the hell is this? There's some sticks. And then here's the... a SATA cable? I don't know what the hell that is. Shit. Dropping shit. Dropping shit already. My motto for this one is no stress. No stress. I also, one of my pet peeves is they don't include the user manuals anymore. So you actually have to go open it on the computer. I hope this is gonna be bright enough. I turned off my overhead light because it was just getting a little too much, but... Alright. My cat's confused. Cat walked in, he's like, what the hell? What the hell's going on in here? Alright, so here's our motherboard, and you can see it, so that's good. This is the PCI 1. So this will probably be where the GPU goes in. Here's the DIMMs. Alright, they do label it, and you put in the DIMM A2 and the DIMM B2 first. We'll do that after the processor. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to put the CPU in first, then the RAM, then the cooler, just because the cooler seems rather large, and I don't want to risk running out of room for the RAM. I don't want to have to try to put it in on an angle. Here's what we got. We got a AMD AM5 ILM bending correct frame. This is from Thermalright. Ryzen CPUs don't need these as much. They don't have a bending problem. They're perfectly square, unlike some Intel. But I got it because it was recommended, and I found one for like $5. And then, of course, creme a la de creme, our CPU 7700X. Beautiful. It's got a little sticker. Oh, that's crazy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull that down. Hate how much force that takes. But you can't let the socket be afraid. One thing I did forget is a screwdriver. 1 second. Oh my. I won't use that for this, but it did make me think of it. Alright, so we're gonna take the bracket out, because I'm pretty sure they give me the little doodads I need. Damn, they got this thing in the bag. How did you get it in the bag? It's like they sealed the bag around this frame. There we go. Whew. Simple. Easy. Didn't even break a sweat doing that. Alright. Give you little instructions. In Japanese. Chinese. Alright. Whew. Alright, so they give you a little Allen wrench. They give you 4 screws for the bracket. Bracket will go over the CPU. And they include the arrow on it. So I just have to match the arrow. The arrow is right here. You might not be able to see it. But what we're going to do is we're going to take off the stock. Now what we do have to be careful of is AMD 5. Not AMD 5. Sorry. Got CPU on the brain. AM5. The pins are on the motherboard instead of the CPU. So we still have to be careful. We just have to be careful in the opposite direction. Still connected. Put that over there. So there's all the pins. It's a little nerve-wracking, but... And then what'll happen is this will go over the CPU. So I'm gonna open that. Comes with a little sticker if I want it. We got the CPU. Here's the little arrow. And it's in. And then I'm gonna put the socket down. Put some of my stuff away. Is this where that came? Does anyone ever actually use the stickers? I know they give you the stickers so you can put them somewhere, but I don't really know where I'm expected to put it. So I just don't put it. Alright, and then what we're gonna do is we got our 4 screws. I'm sure Mav's watching this part with bated breath. I'm gonna do it like a tire. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just do a little screw. I'm gonna go in like an hourglass shape. Just giving them a little tighter each one. One thing you'll have to bear with me for is periodically my camera's gonna shut itself off, and that means you won't be able to see the table. Alright, tidy up a little bit, tidy up a little bit. Alright, CPU down. Now what we'll do is the M.2, I think. Question is, where the hell does that thing go? Here's M.2. I bet it's somewhere. M.2.1. It's under here. What the hell? Yeah, it is under there. Loosen the screws of M.2 shield. Oh, alright. Is this gonna fit? No, it's not. I need to go get a micro screwdriver. I'll be right back. Turn the room light on as well. I don't know if this is gonna mess up my lighting, but it should at least make this lighting a little bit better. I've got 6 of these micro screwdrivers. We're gonna see if I was lucky in picking one that fits. I wasn't. Cool. 1 second. I gotta get one with a less sharp of a head. When in doubt, grab them all. So, I grabbed a handful. Let's see, this is the bigger one. That one fits. So my last, the last motherboard, which was MSI, but it wasn't this one, did not have a heatsink. What is that? Why is it like that? Remove. Noted. If you never looked under there, you would have never noticed it said remove. That'd have been real awkward. Alright, so I got the Silicon Power 2 terabyte. My current computer has a Silicon Power, except it was only 256 gigabytes. This one's 2 terabytes, which I think was a pretty good deal. It looks like it will fit like that, so that's pretty cool. Alright, best way to open it. Oh, shoot. Not apparently. Crack it open. There we go. Ooh. Good lord. They got that locked in there. Installation procedure. Check that your computer's power is off. Remove the old, insert the M2, and secure it in the motherboard with a screw. So this one, it's just gonna kind of fit there, and then I'm gonna rotate that little doodad around. So here it is. So I actually got the one that already has a heatsink on it. So I didn't realize that MSI for number 1 was actually going to include a heatsink. So I should have checked. But didn't occur to me. But 2 can't hurt. So what we'll do is we'll put that in. I'm gonna guess that means that this just isn't in all the way. No, there surely it is. There we go. I did it. Cool. Alright, so what we're gonna do... Can't remember which way this was facing. I'm being honest. This way. I do believe. And we will match that to there. And put that down. Love it when screws just don't want to go where they're supposed to. And we'll be putting the heatsink back on. Lickety split. There we go. I tightened it a little too tight the first time. Made me a little nervous. Cool. Alright, M.2 in. And now, this M.2 is going to be the one that I install Windows on. So it's going to be the only storage you see me install at first. Because what I like to do is I like to install only one storage device. And that's going to be the operating system's boot drive. And then there's no confusion. I don't have to worry when I'm booting on if I'm selecting the right one. Because it's going to be the only one. And then once everything is working, I'll add in some storage. What I'm doing is my current computer has a 2 terabyte hard drive, a 5 terabyte hard drive, a 1 terabyte SSD, and then the 256 gigabyte M.2. What I'm doing is I'm going to leave the 256 gigabyte M.2 on there, and I'm going to leave the 2 terabyte hard drive, and I'm just going to transfer. I'm just going to move the solid state drive and the large hard drive into this computer. Eventually I'll upgrade them. I want to go away from hard drives, but it's just not something I'm going to do right now. And it's just the easiest way to get all my data off the old computer and on the new one. Just going to plop them on. So that'll work. Alright, so next we're going to do the RAM, just because I'm pretty sure the cooler is going to be in the way a little bit. So for RAM, so my current computer, it's got the G-Skill ripjaws, and I think I have 4 8 gigabyte. And what I got is, now I have DDR5, and I got 2 16 gigabytes. So my computer's still gonna have 32 gigabytes of RAM, but with only 2 sticks. This time I got the Silicon Power. They were just the most cost-effective option. And the camera stopped recording. Did I get it? There we go. Sorry about that. There might be a setting that I can turn off, but really as long as I'm double checking every once in a while, it's alright. Alright, now how to get my RAM out of the box. So much for keeping the box on this one. Alright, so I already got my fingerprints on it. Don't mind me, I'm just fondling the RAM. I mean, I guess worst case, I'll just try. And if it doesn't look like it fits, then, it's wrong. Alright, so, like I mentioned earlier, DIMM A2, which is this one, and DIMM B2 are the ones you put in first. So, that's what I'll be doing. Let's see. Nope, that's wrong. That looks right. Okay, so I should have just done that. This line lines up, so I gotta put them in this way. You wanna go in, buddy, or? You ever hate when instructions just, like, have vague pictures? Alright. Commit. There's no way. Oh my god. There we go. Almost. Oh my gosh. That's one's in. That side's in. Holy Jesus. There's no way that's supposed to be that hard. Maybe it's because I got, so the last ones I got, they had a wider surface area. So it's easier to apply downward pressure. So I'm guessing that that's why it felt so difficult this time. Just because of the RAM I bought. So I guess keep that in mind when you're building, is sometimes it might be better to get a RAM stick that has like the casing on it, like the rip jaws. Because there's not a lot of surface area for me to push down on. There we go. Alright. Didn't break them. Made me nervous for a second, but we're good. Alright. CPU cooler would be next. Wonderful. So, got the Phantom Spirit 120 SE Black cooler. All we're gonna do is we're gonna slide the motherboard. We can open this. This box is a lot bigger than I was expecting when it arrived. I will be honest about that. Alright, so this is also a Thermalright product. This is pretty cool. I don't know what direction it's supposed to go, really. Shows the RAM on the picture, and it shows them facing like that. So we'll probably keep it like that. Remove pieces out of the way. One thing I've noticed is I tend to say we, even though I'm the only person doing this. But I know my intent is to put this on YouTube, which leads me to wanting to say we, because you guys are watching. Alright. First step is to remove the plastic brackets. So I got my screwdriver. Sometimes I wish I had a magnetic one. It'll get a little tricky when I'm installing the motherboard. I know last time I had a little bit of challenges trying to get screws to end up where they needed to be without being able to stick them. These are the standoffs. Why they're pink, I don't know. Is AM4 is written on the top, so I'm going to put them in like that. So they're all facing the right direction. The same direction. Dropping stuff on the motherboard. That's why you do the CPU first. That's all that matters, those pins. Alright, so they install them with the U's inwards. So we want the little screw up. Oh, and then it's upside down either way. Annoying. Alright, that's how they have it. Alright, so we'll take our screws, brackets on, and then the next step would be installing thermal paste, then install the heatsink with a screwdriver and install fans. So I haven't installed the thermal paste yet, but what it'll do is in the picture, the labels are here. And then the RAM in the picture is here. So what I'll end up doing is it'll go down like so. And these screws go into the screws on the bracket. And it does look like they'll fit. Let me make sure my screwdriver is going to fit. Barely. If I fight it a little bit, it will. One thing that is irritating is it's hard to line up. So that's not ideal. That's like one thing that could have been adjusted in the design phase. It looks like I still would have been able to get RAM in fine, even if there was a 4 slot, so that's good. But not with a fan installed. Actually, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Alright. It says to apply one 3 to 4 millimeter dot in the center of the CPU for Ryzen 7. So that's what we're going to do. Right here, we're going to put a dot. Do you cut this? Is that what you did? Oh, you just take that off. Never mind. Happy to report there's already cat hair on my motherboard. It's occurring to me that I don't know what 3 to 4 millimeters is. Pea-sized. This is pea-sized. I would say... that what I have here is pea-sized. I think that's pea-sized. Everyone always calls it pea-sized, and then, because I just got a prescription for fluoride toothpaste as well, and it says a pea size, but I don't eat peas, so I had to, like, imagine. I was like, okay, like, what? Like, a pea's like... and it's supposed to be, like, a normal thing, but I'm like, I don't eat those, so I don't freaking know, like, naturally how large a pea is. But that's good enough for me, I think. How many people do you think forget to peel the sticker off? I definitely would. Under most circumstances. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put... See, this is the one thing, is you can't tell if you're on the bracket or not. Not me, struggling with a cooler. Good lord. Oh. Now the back one's not on. Ow. Holy shit. Just freaking stabbed myself with the damn motherboard. Oh, brother. You get one on and then the other comes off. Also, I did stab myself. I got a motherboard-induced injury. There we go. I think I got it in. Good God. That was the hardest part. We're not quite all the way in yet, but... Can't believe I stabbed myself with a motherboard. That's just impressive. Blood for the blood god, I guess. Alright, what's next? Install fans on heatsink with fan clips. Where are the fan headers? No. Holy Jesus. You're alright. Wow. My camera just took a nosedive. Alright. So yeah, so this cooler came with a splitter, which is going to let me plug in both fans into the CPU fan. Okay. So that's fine. And it is located... Where did we say? Right here. CPU fan. So it'll go in there. The fans will be plugged in like so. So I want to make sure just that these cables are going out in a convenient location. Alright, so what we do... Admittedly, I have no idea how these freaking things work. Oh, I see. Kind of. And then they latch on? What the hell? Huh? Oh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh no, I did it right. Okay. Okay. Depending on what you missed, I'm just putting the fans on, so they kind of get put on like so, straight down, and then they'll bend like that to grab onto the heat sink. And we'll just have to put this one up a little higher because it is getting close to the RAM. And we'll move this one up a little bit. Match. Looks good enough. Okay. And then we've got our two connectors here, because the fan partially obstructs it. But what I'm trying to get in is the CPU fan. There we go. I don't know the best way to manage these. We might be able to get them to fit through the case somehow, but I'm gonna leave them alone for now. Alright, so then that is our motherboard put together. Let's get the sticker. Alright, so then our motherboard should be all set up. Next up will be the case, which is probably going to pose a little bit of a space issue. Trying to get the plastic off. I left this plastic on so that it wouldn't get dusty while I waited for the rest of the parts and my motivation to show up. I will say it is an extremely pretty case. I am happy with it. These thumb screws are in there. There we go. I'll take the glass side off. We'll put it off to the side. Do we not get I/O shields anymore? Looks like it might be built in. Pre-installed. Nice. What is next? Do we want to do the PSU? Do we want to do the motherboard? This recommends doing the PSU first. How the hell do I get this out? Let's try to get the back panel off. Let's get my pliers out. They put these on here with the force of 1,000 suns, Lord. Thumb screws, folks. That's what they should be. These ones actually got... I can use the screwdriver on that. I didn't notice when I had it on the side that they had screwdriver heads. Alright, we'll take the back panel off. Alright. It's got nice little things in there already. It's got the front cables. What the hell is this? A bunch of other connectors, although admittedly not sure what they're all for. They got the accessory box locked in here in a drive bay. So they got these cool little drive bays in here. It's pretty neat. Alright. What we're gonna do is get the PSU in. Might as well. Got the Corsair RM850E fully modular ATX power supply. So it's 850 watts. The one in my current computer is the 750 fully modular. That's one thing I didn't want to do differently, is I definitely wanted to keep the modular option. So we've got safety and compliance information. We've got the power cable, which we won't need quite yet. That'll be for the actual computer. And we got a big old bag of cables. We got some zip ties. We got our bag. And then, of course, we've got the power supply itself. As you can see here, or here. Very nice. It always surprises me how heavy the power supply is. I'm in a constant state of confusion, if I'm being honest with you. Every time, the part that confuses me the most is the cables. And my camera's dying. I could take a break. We are hitting 2 hours. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break. And we'll come back. We'll install the PSU, we'll install the motherboard. And then we'll get back to it. Alrighty, welcome back. My camera has charged a little bit. So enough that we're going to try to make it through the rest. I haven't done much while I waited, I just kind of relaxed. But I did look into the cables just a little bit. Fun fact about me is I do have a degree in computer engineering. So I actually developed an operating system from scratch. But it didn't include a lot of practical application. So we never really learned what the cables do or why you need them. And then I did have a job in IT, but that didn't involve having to build computers from scratch. So this will be my second time doing this. So I did have to get some help. And there's no shame in Googling shit when you don't know what's going on. So, but what I landed on is I briefly took my GPU out of the box just to see what it was working with. And it had an adapter that seemed required based on the instructions. So I landed with this cable because this part will go into the PSU, and then both of these will go into the other end of the adapter. I think that'll be the right way to go. And then I'm going to plug in 2 SATAs because I don't think I'm going to be able to reach. So when these are plugged in, I know I'm going to have a drive here and a drive in the bay. And just looking, yeah, that's a tight fix. If I have 2 here, this is what I'll probably use it for. So I'm going to plug in 2, and then like I said, eventually I'm going to phase those out anyways. But for now I need them. 2 CPU powers. At first I'd only pulled out 1. The way I use my computer, I'm probably ever going to use the power of 1. But if I do want to get into overclocking, I might as well just have both plugged in. I did check the motherboard does have 2, and they're right next to each other, so I'm just going to do it. And then we have our motherboard power, which is non-optional. So those are the cables we're going to use. I'm going to plug them in so you can see. Let's see. I'll show the camera, hopefully. There you go. Don't know if that's going to be upside down, but I can show the webcam as well. But essentially, I'm going to plug in the motherboard, the CPUs, and the SATA. I don't want to plug them in before I install it, just because that'll be the easiest. No stickers that I have to remove. So let me just set that down. It's kind of cool they have a shroud, a wire shroud. So we're going to put this in. The camera stopped recording. Insufficient space. Alright, give me 1 second. Let me grab the card. Alrighty. Alright, I'm recording the desk again. And we are good to resume. Alright, just in case you missed, basically what we've got is the PSU with the motherboard plugged in, both CPU powers plugged in, the PCIe with the 2 4x2s. Yeah, 2 8-pins on the end. And then we have 2 SATAs plugged in. And what I'm gonna do is figure out how the hell this thing fits in here. I think this one goes in this way. Cables in first. Pull them all through. Slide the PSU in there. And then you guys won't be able to see this part super well, but I'm just going to put the bracket on, I believe. Let me double check. There's basically this bracket here. And it's just going to go on. Alright, that is in. Now that we have power supply secure, we can flip the chassis now. So I'm going to move my stuff. I'm going to kind of get all the cables just shoved into the chassis. Just so I can flip it and it lay flat. Just our little secret shame back there. Our little not so secret. Alright. That's in, so I'm gonna just lay that down like that. And you can see it. And what we will do, I don't think I have to move. I think this is set up as an ATX. So I don't think I need to install anything else. That looks like it's in. Jesus Christ. Got myself a little pin prick again off of a pin. The mounting screws. I don't think it's these ones. I wish they labeled these like they labeled the other ones. The PSU one they labeled really nicely, and then they kind of just leave you hanging for the other ones. Screwdriver is big enough, at least. I just wish it was magnetic. So I'm going to try to just place them and lift them. This one's going to be tricky. The one in the top left is behind like a heat shield. Oh, I think I got it though. Ooh, the last one's also in a tricky spot. Oh, not me dropping it. Fell under. Let's see if I can shake it out. No. Alright. Note to self, do the tricky ones first. That out. Oh, I see. It had fallen in like this little groove. So there's no way I was getting that out without removing it. Alright, now we'll just put the motherboard back in. Always so difficult. I feel like that lady from that cartoon where you just never see her face. Alright, let's try this again. But without dropping it? I don't know if you guys can see when I'm doing this because my hat probably gets in the way. This makes a good argument for installing the motherboard before everything else. Good lord. Or drop it again. I need a magnetic screwdriver. Goodness gracious. Hold on. Let me at least try to get the other tricky one in. Ooh, almost dropped that one. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Goodness. I don't know where that screw went. Oh, I see it. See it. Difficult. Could it be to just grab a screw? And now we gotta try to put it back. We gotta try to put it back. Good Lord. And I don't think there's any easy way for me to do this, other than if I, like, put it on the motherboard and, like, dropped it in. But then I think the brackets would pop them out anyways. And then I wouldn't be able to do it anyways. But the challenge is the CPU itself is obstructing my view. Alright. Oh, the other 6 should be the easy ones. Good Lord. Alright, and then we'll just make sure they're all tightened a little bit. Alright, motherboard's mounted. The built-in I/O shield is nice, I will say. I think now what might be a good option is the rear case fan. Just because I think the GPU is going to get in its way. For the connector, at least. Not in the way of the GPU itself, but... Alright. So, I showed it to you earlier, but I got 5 of these Thermalright 120mm fans. We discovered that the intake is in through the logo, so we want the rear to be an exhaust, so we will want it facing this way. Easiest way for me to do that is there is a rear fan pin. There's a system fan pin. System fan 6, like right next to me. So I think what I want to do is get it to go there. Just trying to think of the best way to get it cable managed. I don't think there's a pretty way to do it. Or if I can wrap this. And I think I'm just gonna have to bunch it up and let it go. Alright. Motherboard is installed, so I can set this back real quick. And what I'm gonna do is install this fan real quick. Again, I want the logo facing the inside of the case because I want it to be pushed out the back. Alright, got one in. Make sure our cables of shame are sufficiently tucked. And that is ugly as hell, but it's gonna have to be good enough. What do you even do with this? Brother. We're just gonna let it hang there, I guess. I don't want to put it under there because I don't want it to possibly touch anything. But where it is, it's just chilling. It's straight vibing. The graphics card. So, check it out. Got the 4070 Super. It's not in this box. This box is empty. It is in the internal box. The box inside the box. Let's put that right there. I got a dual fan. So it's got this connector. So this plugs into the the GPU itself, and then its power go into both of these. And let's move that. Look how pretty. It's got film on it. Alright, so we want to remove that. But first, let's figure out how we'll want it to go in. So it'll go in that way into the PCIe slot. So it'll need these two, I think, opened. Let's put that to the side real quick. You gotta take out the little brackets in the case so it fits. I think it needs the two out. And then yeah. So let's remove the plastic real quick. If I can figure out where the plastic starts. There's a fan one. Fan one. Just touch it up everywhere. Get my fingerprints all over it. Power supply up at the top, so I don't have to worry about that right now. Let's remove this third one too, just because it's seemingly in my way a little bit. And we should be able to put it back on. So let's see. PSU would go right there. Just kidding. I can't freaking see anything. It's the worst, dude. Alright. I might have needed the front one there. And I might need this one gone. So let's see. This one belong. Yeah. That seems better. But now I can't see if it's actually lined up or not. Now I got it stuck on something. Oh shit, I'm dropping it. Good lord. Lord, help me. How in the... I remember to take down the little thing. Alright, did I forget something? Is that what I did? Forgot something? No. Says just put it in. So the real trick is just getting this little bastard to actually click into place. Oh, there's a little brother. There's a little freaking plastic thing on it. No wonder. Good lord. Recording again. Just struggling getting the graphics card. It did click, so it's in. It's just it doesn't go over quite as much as I thought it would. Unless it's supposed to be here. I don't think so. Making me sweat, dude. Take a me nervous. Alright, got one in. Good lord. Dropping things. Dropping things in the computer. What could go wrong? Alright. GPU's in. And then here's its. Makes me nervous when it doesn't click. And these will just go that away. They'll connect with the cable that needs them. That's too much. That is too much. Alright. What else? Should we do the top fans? Or should we do that last? Can't decide. I'm seized by executive dysfunction. Let's clean up boxes a little bit. Yeah, 'cause the system fans are at the top, but then the power's here. Let's do the other cables first, and then we'll do the top fans, because I think it's gonna get in the way. Alright, so we're gonna lift this up. Gonna be quite the heavy computer. Ooh. My oh my. Okay. So we got our little gaggle. Our little bunch cables. We got this little thing. Nothing's ever easy. Alright, that's plugged in. Ugly as hell. But we're doing it. God, I hope this thing boots. Nothing is ever easy. Woo! Makes me nervous when it makes sounds like that. Let's try to start the computer. I think it's time for a break. So, got mostly everything done. The only thing left is those the top case fans, and then of course getting the other drives installed in it, and then getting, you know, everything how I want it to be. Getting Windows fully activated. But, ooh, the bulk of it's done. So, what a doozy. It's a long day. I'll take a break. I'm gonna eat. Alright, welcome back. Alright, we took a little break. I took a little break. We left off. The computer had booted, so that was cool. Windows 10 is installed on it, but not activated. A couple things I did while taking the break, because I had to transfer my SD again, is I pissed a little bit with the cables. I was able to get the rear fan cable to look a little bit nicer. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to flip this. Actually, I'm going to remove the top. So what I want to do is I want to install the two case fans in the top, and that's really the last thing I need to do today, because I'm not going to be ready to install the hard drives. Essentially, if I were to rotate these fans, the cables might be able to run up and just provide a little less, like, clearance, I guess. Let me flip it the other way. No, I don't want it to run that way. I want it to run through the back so that Maybe if I taped it a little bit? I don't know if that'd be worse or not. Then I'll be able to attach it. And only the little bit is up, which I think is preferable. That leaves what to do with the other one. I don't think I'd be able to get a full rotation in. But it'll definitely be better. Alright. I think that's a lot better. Cool. One of the other things I had done is when I first connected this, you would have seen a lot of cables here for this fan. I tucked them in on the side with the IO shield, and they fit pretty nicely there. And then I moved the GPU's power supply. It had been going in the side here, and I actually have it now going in the bottom because I think that'll look a little bit cleaner. And then I also put a tie on it to kind of try to hold it a little more together, I guess. So I was also able to push the CPU cables back a little bit because what I want to do is install the top fan. So remember, the logo's the in, so we'll want the top to be an outtake. So what we'll end up doing is it'll go in the top like this. There's a system fan header right there. Right here on the motherboard. So I think that's what we'll aim for. Although I could send them out and then plug them in here. That's the other option. But we are going to have two of them. I think two. Let's double check. Yeah, I can fit two up top. And we're going to daisy chain them. So these fans come with this connector, which lets me plug a fan into a fan, basically. What I'll end up doing is this one will go here. And I think I have enough space. Let me check. Oh, it isn't gonna fit. Oh, brother. I could fit one. No, I can move them. Okay, hold on. So as long as they tuck in a little bit, I'll be able to get this in. So then that pulls. This goes back down. Enough for me to get the screw back in. I'm sure my posture just looks phenomenal in this video. Showing off my gamer slouch. I love it when these Velcro things, by the way, I love them. They always do things the wrong direction. I want to plug into the sys fan. Alright, got that one in. And then it just has to... And then we're gonna hope that this one I put in the back is going to reach where I want it to. That's why we're only doing 2 screws right now, because I don't want to commit. Alright, this is the top, so I'm gonna lift it up. And I have this coming out of the back. So I'm gonna pull the slack, send it through here, flip it back over, into sysfan 2. Nice. All right. Back over. I don't know how much this thing weighs, but the answer is too much. Whew. This is for cable management, but I just got a monstrosity working around down here. What in the hell is this? It's a freaking mystery. Here's some of these SATA cables just having the time of their life. Did I just, like, latch it down onto that? Is that... is that the option here? Kind of yoink that. I am gonna have an SSD attached right there, so... How did this get in the way? What is this? Oh, it's the GPU. Frick. Cool. I kind of don't like that it's in my way like that. I'd kind of like to keep these together if I could. I could just crisscross them. That's a strat. Just crisscross them. Crisscross applesauce the motherfucker. No, let's do it right. Let's do it right. Let's do it right. Good lord. Alright, we're gonna flip and we'll reconnect to the GPU. Hold that together a little better. And then we'll be able to pull it back through. The fans are still a little ugly there, but we'll try to fix that in a second. Did stop recording, so just in case you missed it, this is what the back looks like. Not too bad. What we will end up having is a drive in the drive bay, and we'll have an SSD mounted there at some point, but not today. And what we're going to do is we're going to install the rest of the screws for the fan. Those are the fans installed. Is these cables, which you still might not be able to see. And they just don't want to play nice with me. Sysfan 2. Yeah, so the next system fan's not all the way to the bottom, and I don't have the clearance to make that. Of course, these never wanna... They're always the Velcro-iest whenever you want it to not stick to itself. It just hangs like a sad little hangy thing. You can quote me on that. Alright. It's dangly, but it's about the best is gonna happen for me. Yep. Let's see. We can put the panel back in. So kind of goes in and then over. That was easy. It's a lot easier getting it back in than it was getting it out. Except these thumb screws. These things never cooperate with me. It could be a fractal design thing. My current case is fractal too, but I do like the case. Alright. And then the front's as easy as sliding it on. I do believe that everything inside is in order. So I can put the glass side back on. I think I'm going to use the Wi-Fi to try to set up the computer so that I can still have my current one plugged into the Ethernet, because my current computer would not be able to connect. So it won't be a Wi-Fi build permanently, but they'll just kind of be there for if I need it and for this initial work. All right, got the little cute little antennas up. I'm gonna leave the sticky stuff on the glass until the computer's where it's permanently more or less gonna be. Whew. I think it went all right. We had some ups and downs, some bits that didn't go to plan, but I gotta say overall, I think I'm pretty happy. I'll be fiddling with Windows, I think, for a little bit. That's my least favorite part. I gotta try to figure out how to get my Windows to transfer. I'm pretty sure I'll just be able to type in the product key and just swap, but I don't want to deactivate on my current computer until my stuff is good. But I think we're good. All right, welcome back, everyone. It is now Sunday the 12th. Yesterday I spent most of the day transferring data onto the drives that I'm transplanting out of the old PC and into the new one. I grabbed 2 of the drives. This is my 4TB Toshiba performance drive, aptly named Big Boy as the volume name. This one's coming with me. It's got a lot of files on it right now. And then I'm also going to take with me my SSD. It's 1TB. It's a silicon power. And this is what I install most of my games on, like especially my first-person shooters like Siege. And I wanted to take this with me because I think I'm going to use, so right now the only drive in there is an M.2 2TB, and I think I'm going to keep a lot of my important files and programs on that one. So I still want this SSD for my games, even though the M.2 would be faster. I don't really want games on it. I might upgrade. What I want to do is I want to upgrade to M.2s. But I'm taking these 2 with me for now. The old computer, which I'm going to sell, still has the 256GB M.2 that Windows is installed on, and it has a 2TB Seagate hard drive in it. So that should be enough for anyone. I left the SATA powers plugged in, so it should be pretty simple if someone wants to add to that when they buy it. But what we're going to do is we're going to install these drives into the new computer. I pulled the 2 SATA cables out. And I'm going to put these to the side. It's turned off. I made sure to drain the residual power, so all good on that end. God, this thing is heavy. Alright. So I'm gonna unvelcro the CPU power just because it's gonna be a little bit in my way. And we'll tidy that up in a little bit. I'm gonna grab the manual for the case. So I'm gonna install them right this time. If you saw in the footage, I just had the SSD kind of just floating. I don't want to do that this time. So let's do it right. Is take out this drive bay. I'm gonna use a tie to hold these power cables off to the side. Doesn't have to be permanent, just enough to keep them out of my way. Where's my screwdriver at? So that clips in like that. And what we'll do is we'll install the drive like this. But we'll put cables down. So when it goes in, power's facing the way it needs to go. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, I will have kept it in the fractal design box. These aren't labeled, which kind of hurts my feelings. And I think I can use these for the SSD. I don't know where the hard drive dampeners went then. I'll need that for the big one, not for... What I'm doing is I'm just going to keep all these parts in this bag, and then I'm going to store them with the boxes so that if I ever need something out of them, I'll be able to remember. If you're wondering what the earbuds are for, I'm listening to music this time. I did this in silence on Friday or whatever day it was. And I decided I'd listen to music. So right now, Sherry Cherry Lady's playing by Modern Talking. So... Oh man. I don't think I'd ever be able to live stream something like this. But recording, it's not so bad. I am hoping that I get enough good footage to make a video. So it's fun. I like to watch it, and I'm not dropping a screwdriver. So we got this. What we'll do is we'll I'm gonna plug in the cables before I clamp this down. I think it'll be easier. So here is the SATA. The hell was that? Oh, this thing got stuck on me. It scared the hell out of me. Alright, so we're gonna put the SATA in. There's these little L's, so you can't really screw it up. Building a computer requires so much manhandling, it's actually impressive. Let's get that recording again. If you haven't been able to see, I've just been deciding where to get the cable. I've been dragging the SATA cable around to try to find a good opening, and this is how it'll be oriented. So I was just picking whichever one was gonna look like the most convenient. The other drive will actually be down here, so I could, if I wanted, use this one SATA to power them both, but I think I'm gonna keep with my plan. I'm gonna stay the course, I think. If I use this one, I think that'll be the cleanest. If I got it facing the right direction. There we go. Alright. That's gonna go that way. I just need this. Picture the drive back down. So there's the solid state. I'm gonna send SATA underneath. And based on the schematic, it's in the lower half. So I'm gonna send it through this, and we'll figure it out. We'll catch it later. And then what I also need is how to get the drive bay out. Of course, there's a thumb screw screwed in at the strength of a god. Got a drive bay out. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get some tape and close up the mounting screw bag because I don't need any right now. But I definitely don't want them loose. Alright, so this was the front, so we'll want the power coming that way. We'll place the drive. Match up the holes. I think we want the dampeners. Maybe we'll put the dampeners in first. I don't think I used dampeners in my last one. I don't think they provided them, to be fair. But maybe this will help with some noise. That's what they're supposed to do. because hard drives still use disks that spin, and those can be pretty audible. Put in there. Alright, so we'll make that a little tighter. Not too tight. Just as soon as I feel resistance. Match up the little L's. SATA. And then I'll pull out power. And this is going to end up going straight in like so. Which I'm not going to be able to use the ones that bend like this because it's bending the wrong... Well, I guess I can if it bends enough. There we go. And then... I don't know where that tie went. The way this is going in, I think I'm going to tie it like this. But I can adjust it if I need to. Get it to cooperate at least. There is a little clip I need to try to... I'm gonna set the case up just so I can kind of use gravity. Alright, that worked. That worked a lot better with gravity. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're flipping around. I'm gonna take the front panel connector off. Alright. So we got two SATAs coming out. I'm gonna remove this panel just to give my easier access. Unscrew at the top. Alright, so I got the SATAs plugged in. I picked 1 and 3, so they're right next to each other. And now I'm gonna flip it back over. I'm gonna pull out the excess. So I'm gonna put this panel back. Alright, so you can see the cable management. So we got the SATA power that's just kind of chilling back here. We got these. We can pull the loose. Now what we could do is we could make these go up that way. I wish I hadn't put them under the motherboard. Oh. But if you want something to look away, it's better to fix it immediately than procrastinate. So we're gonna do that. All I'm doing is I'm gonna unplug the SATAs and then just make sure they're on the outside of the motherboard power. This thing is so heavy, brother. Alright. So now this can rest flush and I can send this one up through these two. And then these two. Alright. And I'll let those chill. I don't think I'm worried about them down there. Alright. That's good, that's good. This is how I ended up running the CPU. It's not over there. It just felt better than going that direction. Motherboard, all of these. Got this little loose from the fan. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Nothing too tight on the SATA connectors. Crazy. Alright, so drives are installed, so what I'm gonna end up doing now is I'll boot it up. I'm gonna make sure the drives show up, and I'll start organizing my files, installing my games, and then we'll give it a test run. Pretty exciting. And then I gotta go do all the work with the old PC to wipe it and get it ready to not be mine anymore. But this took a lot longer than I thought it would. I know last time, the last build, I was able to do everything in one day. This, granted, I was going from a laptop to a desktop, so it wasn't much of a burden, but this one was like a lot of software, a lot of files, a lot of organization. So it did take a lot longer than I thought, but if you watched this, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. Maybe it made you feel better about your own PC building experience. But I enjoyed it enough. So, whew, appreciate it. Have a good one.